Good afternoon, dear parents and community of Star International Academy, Universal Academy, and HGS Academies. We have an exciting program today with the Arab American National Museum, the one and only Arab American National Museum in the United States. We have with us Dave Serio. He's the educator. He's an educator and a public programming specialist at the Arab American National Museum. Welcome, Dave. Thank you for putting this together. We also have Bilal Uthman, a development coordinator. He will be with us later also during the program. The Arab American National Museum is giving away free memberships for our parents today, so please stay tuned. We will be sharing the links with you momentarily. It is first come, first serve. And Dave and Bilal are going to go through what the museum has to offer you. It is one of the perks of living in the Detroit metro area, so please make use of it. And here is Bilal to present to you with more details.
Great. Thank you very much for the warm introduction. Assalamu alaikum, marhaba. Hello, everybody. As was mentioned, my name is Dave Serio, and I oversee the education department at the one and only Arab American National Museum. Oh, it's really funny seeing my photo on the bottom right and left of the screen, and then the COVID Dave in front of you, COVID hair and everything. Anyways, thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to join us. And we're here to tell you a little bit more about who we are as the Arab American National Museum. Again, we're the first and only institution of its kind with world-class exhibits, amazing programs, and amazing, engaging and fun opportunities for families. I always like to start any type of introduction about the museum by watching a very short video. So we've put together a very short 2-minute video that just explains more about the Arab American National Museum, kind of who we are, what we do, our mission, and all that. So we're going to watch a quick short film, and then we're going to jump into a really quick presentation to tell you more about our offerings. So without further ado, we'll show the film, and we'll see you on the other side.
Among the 35,000 museums across the United States, there is only one museum that tells our story, and only one museum that elevates the Arab American voice and inspires the generations of today and the generations to follow. A thoughtful narrator of history, a passionate advocate of justice, and an innovative expression of our identity, the Arab American National Museum has served as the heart of Arab American storytelling, making its mark in the world of art, science, and culture. Brought to life by Access in 2005, the creation of this crown jewel and Smithsonian affiliate was guided by Access's vision of a just and equitable society that includes the full story and contributions of Arab Americans. Emerging as a powerful reclamation of our narrative in a space that has been dominated by ignorance and misconceptions that have threatened our cultures, traditions, and truths, the Arab American National Museum preserves our story and shares our contributions with the world. Locally and across our nation, we offer a history created by you to sustain a future that will be built by you. Since the very beginning of time, storytelling has been a way for us to navigate and discover our world. It is what heals us, unites us, and inspires us. Whether it is stories, songs, paintings, photographs, films, textbooks, novels, or poetry, the beauty and contributions of our unique and remarkable community are captured through the history and art that live on in our treasured Arab American National Museum.
So hopefully this gives you a little bit better of a sense of who the museum is and everything that we do. And I'm going to jump into my quick presentation just to tell you a little bit more, again, about what the museum is and kind of who we are. So let me go to my... right. So, oh, technology, work with me here. There we go. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do a really quick, just kind of conversation about who we are as the Arab American National Museum. So, with the Arab American National Museum, again, we're the first and only museum of its kind in the entire country, dedicated to telling the story of the Arab American community. So we are here to document, present, and preserve the history, culture, and contributions of Arab Americans. That makes us a really important institution, you know, and as an Arab American myself, I feel like I took advantage. I was like, oh yeah, I'm Arab American. I know our history. I know what we're about. I'm living it. But then when I went to the museum for the first time before I started working here, I got a really healthy dose of education and culture, kind of displayed in front of my eyes, right? And I'll give you some examples as we go throughout the presentation. But I think my point is that the museum is such an essential piece, both to non-Arab Americans and Arab Americans, to really tell our own story, and to be a place and a safe space for Arab Americans to participate in programs, to see themselves in the exhibits. Like for me, when I first went to the museum before I started working there, I got so excited that I saw my history on display, items that my grandparents and parents have in their house, in their kitchen, and just things that I could relate to. It gave me so much pride as an Arab American to see myself in this institution. Because if you look at other museums, if you look at history books in general, like in many schools, the Arab American story in the Arab world is either not there at all, or it's really not represented in a very fair fashion, right? And so this museum is really, really special to me, and hopefully it's very special to many Arab Americans. And so these are just a few things that you'll find in our institution. So here, for example, we highlight the different Arab countries that make up the Arab world. As I mentioned before, when I first started going to the museum as a guest, I never realized that countries like Sudan, Somalia, Mauritania were considered to be Arab countries. I also didn't realize that other countries, that this would include 22 different countries that have this identity of Arab. And so this is something that we highlight in our space. And if you've ever been to our space, you'll know that we're very interactive as well. So when we're talking about this map, we talk about a lot of interactive components that we have, right? So people, when families visit us, it's not just reading and looking at these items, it's very hands-on, right? So you're able to flip different things, move different things, feel different things. And it's a really, really great space to learn, again, about the Arab American community. Okay. We also talk about why these countries are specifically Arab countries, right? So these are the three things that they share in common, right? So they all have a shared language, a shared history and culture, and then they're also a part of the Arab League. So again, those three reasons are why these 22 countries are considered to be Arab. And so again, this is a really great space to talk about, to help educate our community, but then also folks who are not a part of the Arab American community on our story. Okay. We also talk about Arab immigration. And one of the things we do that I think is really cool is we tell the story through activities, right? We don't just, if you do like a guided tour, for example, and that's one of the perks that folks have when they enter the museum, which my colleague Bilal will talk a little bit more about. We do a lot of activities, right? So it's not just us saying, it's not just you reading things per se, but again, it's very interactive. We do a lot of guided tours for families and for schools. And when people come into our institution, we give them activities like this so that they themselves can put themselves in the shoes of an immigrant, or maybe they themselves are immigrants. They can feel comfortable, if they choose to share their story. And in this case, talk about the items that they may have packed in their suitcase if they move from one place to the other. And so again, it's a really hands-on space that really, uses hands-on techniques to tell the story of Arab Americans adequately and in a fair and even manner. Again, these are just some things that you'll learn as you come to the museum. So we do talk about 4 periods of immigration, right? So we talk about people that came as far back as the 1880s and early 1920s in this first period. You see examples and items here that we have that kind of tell these stories a little bit better. We talk about the second period of immigration. So I won't go into details to bore you. But again, I just wanted to share some of the things that the museum really does a good job focusing on. And again, telling diverse stories too, right? It's not just all Lubnani. It's not all Iraqi. It's not all from one group, but it's a wide variety of folks, right? It's people from Palestine, people from Yemen, people from Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Palestine, so on and so forth. So we try to do a really good job telling the wide stories that we have. Okay, and then again, you can see some of the other periods that we have here, the third and fourth time period. So again, we talk about why people come to the U.S., the wide variety. And the great thing is when we do activities, when we do tours, when we do all of our programs, one of the best things that I love when I bring people on a tour or when people come into our space is they can see themselves in the exhibit. And I love when people tell me stories of, oh yeah, my mom or my dad came in the third time period and they came because of the Lebanese Civil War, or they came because they were trying to get a good job. And so again, just being able to see your families and or yourself in the exhibits is such a powerful feeling. And then again, we talk about where our communities are. So we talk a lot about the huge Arab community here in Michigan, but we also talk about the large Arab communities found in a lot of these states that are in red, right? So a lot of people don't realize that there's a huge Arab community in Illinois, specifically in the Chicago area, in Ohio, and like Cleveland and other big cities, in Boston, Massachusetts, New York City, and so on and so forth. We also talk about cultural and social practices, right? So again, this is another really great activity that we offer for families and for tour groups, is we talk about the significance of our clothing, right? And the different things that we might wear. And this is just one example of that, right? So we're highlighting a Palestinian thobe. And so we talk to people about, why would you want the flag of Palestine on your clothing? Why would you want, it's hard to see, but there's some Arabic writing in here. Why would you want these things? So we talk to people about the importance of displaying who you are, your culture, your identity on your clothes. And then we challenge students to design their own piece of clothing that tells their own unique story, whether it's representing their, from being from the Detroit area, maybe their home overseas. And so again, it's a really great exercise for families to have students kind of express themselves through activities. I want to talk a little bit about some of the activities that we do offer for a wide range of students. So you'll notice that we do quite a bit of stuff, right? So right now we're closed to the public, so we're not doing any physical tours, but we are offering live virtual tours of the museum. So this is something that folks can schedule with myself, either as a school group or maybe as a large family. If you wanted to do a guided tour, that's something that we're scheduling currently. We also offer a bunch of crafts, including our Mosaic Craft, which you can kind of see here. So this is a really great opportunity for families to come in and create their own Mosaic Craft. Mosaics are a rich form of art that has existed in the Arab world for centuries upon centuries. And so we've kind of morphed that into like a take-home craft, which you can see here. You can see more craft options here. We also, this does include like our family parties. So we do multiple family parties when we're able to be in person, inshallah soon. We do family parties, right? So we do a family party for Christmas, for Eid, and for Halloween. And so this is a great opportunity for kids to come in and do crafts, do scavenger hunts in our institution, to have story time, and so many other different activities. And again, I won't go through all of these, just I don't want to bore you all with so much detail. But again, you can see the different offerings that we have when you do come to the museum as a group normally, right? So we do teach Debke, for a lot of school groups that come through. We also have Evil Eye crafts that we do. We do films. We also do object-based learning, which is a little bit more educational, where we take out different items for people to learn about the Arab community, but then also gives us a chance for students virtually to grab an item from their home that they feel represents themselves, their family, or their culture. And this is a really great way to like have student involvement in when we're doing an activity like our object-based learning. Also, there's some great educational resources and activities that you can access if you don't come to the museum right away. There are some really great resources you can access. So we have our core galleries page. I'm hoping you're still following my shared screen as I go to the museum's website. If not, you can find everything on arabamericanmuseum.org, which we can drop into the chat. But here, for example, if you can see my screen, you'll see we have our core galleries page, and you can click on, it does not share. Okay, so you probably cannot see this, and that's okay. But I'll share the link in the chat after we discuss this. But again, you can find all of this on the museum's website. So we have like a bunch of resources on our website that have activities and videos and a bunch of clickable objects, so you can learn more about different items that we have. We have digital scrapbooks. So if you go to YouTube and type in Arab American National Museum, you'll come across a lot of different resources, which includes our digital scrapbooks, where people are literally telling their own stories through photographs, through narration, through short videos. We also have Arabic English story time for younger kids, which is really great. So it's story time obviously being read in English and in Arabic. And this is a really great resource for families to utilize if they're at home. And sometimes there's a craft activity associated with it as well. We also have our youth photography program called Suda. Suda is older than the museum. So the museum opened May 5th, 2005. Suda, the photography program, has been around since 2000. And you can see a really great example here. We have middle and high school students that we bring into the museum. We're hoping to go back in person in the summertime, inshallah. And so we teach students the art of photography and how you can use photography as a really powerful way to tell the story of Arab Americans, and for you to take your own story into your hands and again, take photographs to tell your own story. This is a really amazing program that is offered 3 times a year. We do have cameras available for students if they don't have their own camera. And usually we do some type of opening exhibition. And it's a really great way for students to say, hey, my work was exhibited at the one and only Arab American National Museum. So it's a really big honor, and it looks great on a resume too, honestly. Being able to exhibit your artwork at the only institution of its kind is a really, really cool thing. So we do, again, offer a lot of different workshops and programs for students. We also have something called Games for Change, which is a technology workshop that's coming for older students, middle school, high school students. And this is working with technology to basically create your own online games. So we'll be opening that up very soon as well. So there's a lot of information here. Again, you can always stay in touch with the museum by visiting our website, arabamericanmuseum.org, and all of our information, including our public programs, our youth workshops and programs, the core galleries page and all that, you'll be able to find on there. And of course, you can always see, message myself, which I'll also drop my email into the chat. So if you have any questions, you can of course reach out to myself. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Bilal Othman to talk a little bit more specifically about membership perks.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope everyone can hear me. My name is Bilal Othman. I am one of the non-Michigan Arabs. I'm based in Chicago. And again, the museum means a lot to me, even though I'm not directly in the Dearborn community. So part of Hamada Educational Services, thank you to you all for dealing with the pandemic, is granting each school 100 free memberships. So you get family memberships essentially into the Arab American National Museum, giving you things like free admission, the ability to check out privileges at the library, discounts at the store, as well as free admission to most Arab American National Museum programming that's going to come back, hopefully, when we're back in person, like things like plays and concerts. And you also get access to tickets ahead of time. So to claim your membership, pretty simple steps. Let's hope it works out. Pull out your phone camera, scan your phone, and it should pull up the link. Fill out the form, and then it should welcome you to the museum. I'll keep this on for a few minutes, for around like a minute or so, and I can explain to you what the next activity is. We're going to be screening a film named Sandwished by Omar Al-Futani. He's a Yemeni artist based in Brooklyn. Very popular filmmaker. He's won a few awards, specifically local awards in Brooklyn. And my dad personally really enjoyed this film. I really enjoyed this film. I hope you will enjoy it. So if you have any troubles filling out the form, you can email me at bothman@accesscommunity.org, but hopefully it works out. Thank you.
Thanks, Bilal and Dave. And also I have posted the direct links of the memberships into the into the chat. So parents can basically of Star International Academy, there's different links for each one. So if you are watching on Star International Academy's Facebook or YouTube, you'll find the link in the comments section for the Star International Academy membership. And if you're watching on Universal Academy Facebook or YouTube, you will find the right link in the comments. And now, without further ado, we will show this beautiful short film.
محل بالنسبة لنا احنا يعتبر زي المجالس عندنا بالدول العربية، ملتقى أهل الحارة يعني. فأنت تشوف أصحاب الحارة كلهم والأصدقاء حتى اللي من خارج الحارة غالبا يكون التقائهم عندنا بالمحلات.
الزبون هو ومش عارف من أنت، مش عارف أن وراء الكاشير هنا دكتور أو مهندس وبعضهم أيضا مش عارفين أنك من اليمن، وإذا سألتهم عن اليمن مش عارفين إيش هي اليمن.
Yes. Coca with chips? Sure. Cook with chips. Or pour it after I cook. You said cook it. You crazy? معك شغل 16 ساعة. طبعا كنا نقوم الساعة 8 9 نباشر العمل. كان خالي الصغير يمسك الكاشة وأنا أمسك الديلي إلين الساعة 12. أنا ما يهمنيش الفلوس، يعني أصرف عادي، أهم شيء إنهم يكونوا مرتاحين، ما كانش يبقى لي ولا ريال. الدكان بيتحمل فوق طاقته بحكم إن إحنا نرسل مصاريف لليمن أكثر من دخل الدكان. ما أخذ، أنا ما جيت أنا علشان أريح. يعني اليوم هنا يعني كأنك بتضيع أسبوع هنا. لوكو العيشة هنا أحسن بكثير بحكم الأمن والاستقرار. أكيد يعني ما تحصل نهضة في أي بلاد إلا في الأمن والاستقرار.
Please don't use it on your shoes. Soft side, hard side. Soft side, hard side.
Oh, yeah, one.
Look, you got one. What you trying to say?
Oh, you crazy on the floor. That's in my head.
No, never, never. I don't have nothing.
I don't think that's that.
No.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
That's because you got natural hair.
Yeah.
Jealous.
Ay, look at that.
Mashallah.
I came to hear, yeah, it's all questions for a reason. Yeah.
بالعكس الزبائن هنا محترمين جدا ومتعاطفين جدا.
If you work for yourself. That's it. You make money for yourself. But we different. We don't work for ourselves. We work for our family. Yeah. Back home, yeah. To make sure they are safe. They get they get food. They get water. They get everything. Especially when you move from city to city, because our city, it's called Taz City. We have a war over there right now. Some cities safe, like Ib City. Next,
It's like Brooklyn and Queens.
Yeah, it's like Brooklyn and Queens.
بس يجيش واحد قلق وخائف، يعني تخيل عن محل وحدك وكذا وناس داخلين خارجين، لغة غير لغتك، عادات وتقاليد غير عادتك وتقاليدك، ناس مش ناسك، دين غير دينك. يعني برضه هذه تعتبر بلادي الثانية بحكم ان انا يعني سيتيزن جواز امريكي الحمد لله. بس الفرق بين الدولة هذه ومسقط راسي زي الفرق بين الزوجة والأم، يعني أمريكا تعتبر الزوجة واليمن هي الأم والأساس.
I feel my life here like your body is here and your life, your soul back home. بحكم انه يعني معك اسرتك، معك شيء مكان يسحبك او يجذبك الى المنطقه اللي فيها الاشخاص اللي هم متواجدين فيها، زي الاهل والزوجه والابناء. أنا زوجتي وأولادي هم ساكنين في اليمن. عندي ولد عمره 10 سنوات، صف رابع، اسمه حمزة، وبنتي اسمها براءة عمرها 5 سنوات وهي بتدرس صف أول.
ها براءة، كيف أنت يا ماما؟
بخير، أنت كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله بخير. ايش عامل يا براءة؟
دني جالسة عند أمي.
انت نجحتي نص السنة، نجحتي ولا لا؟
ايه، أولا من الأوائل.
ايوه يا ماما، مش تشديش من امريكا؟
وأراسلك ما تنشتين.
تمام، بتراسليني ايش تشتين؟
ايه.
مثل ما ايش تشتي مثلا؟ ايباد.
تليفون ولا ايباد ولا بلابتوب.
ايباد وتلفون ولابتوب، ها؟ خلاص عاد فيش اطفال. No more kids، ها؟
تعالت. نبغى ننحط أمريكا.
تمام، حاضر.
شغلك.
وحمزة اللي يطلع لها عندكم ولا جالس نازل؟
جالس نازل يدرس.
Yo, I doing.
We get a packet report.
ما بيش بوسة الباب، ادي لي بوسة. حبيبي. اسمه دورة. يا.
انتبه على نفسك من الباب.
تمام حبيبي. تمام، وانت انتبهي على نفسك يا ماما.
أنا بحبك خيرة.
تمام يا حبيبي، وهذا بوسالش. انتبهي على نفسك. ما اتصل لكم بعدها.
أنا لي من أسرتي إلى الآن 2.5 سنة. أكيد I miss them too much, especially my kids.
Let me get 2 chicken cutlets with everything on it. A hero.
بدأ القصف كان يوم جمعة، كان الساعة 11 صباحا. خرجت أنا وبنتي الصغيرة، يعني قلت أخرج نشيل كذا أغراض للبيت وشيل لها كم كاندي ونروح. كان عندها نوع من الكاندي اسمها الملكي واي، كانت تموت عليه. رحت وأنا مروح أشوف كذا، أشوف يعني للمعسكر، أشوف يعني التراب كذا، كأن واحد شال التراب كذا بيده ونفش، بس يعني بشكل كبير يعني مكبر. يعني جرينا كلنا، يعني شليت أسرتي وأمي وأخواتي وكذا وأنا وأخي كلنا خرجنا، تركنا الجمل بما حمل فانطلقنا على طول جهة إب. ما توقعناش إنه يوصل عندنا زي ما قلت له، يعني إحنا مع ضجينا من تعز مع رحلنا إلا بعد ما شفنا الشيء بعيوننا، يعني قلنا هذا قد تو ماتش ليه. كان لي رغبة شديدة أن أنا أحضر زوجتي وأولادي إلى هنا إلى أمريكا، لكن بحكم أن أنا أول مرة أدخل الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، لازم أول شيء واحد يبدأ مستقبله ويأسس نفسه في هذه البلاد. يجلس يعني قلبك يعني يقولوا يعني ماسك على الجمر، فتجلس قلق وخائف وتتصل وتراسل وتواصلهم كيف الأمور، كيف الأجواء، كل شيء تمام. ننتظر أي لحظة يرفعوا سماعة التلفون ويقول لك يعني عظم الله أجرك، ولا مثلا حصلت حرب إحنا بننتقل للقرية، برجع للقرية مرة ثانية وكذا. تجلس يعني confusing between your job and your family over there. الدكان هذا يشتري دعسة قوية، يعني يشتري له نهضة قوية، وبنفس الوقت ما يشتريش مسؤولية، ما يكونش عندك مسؤولية زي ما تقول أسرة كبيرة، يعني مش مجرد يعني مكونة من زوجة وأولاد. يعني اكبر من هذا الشيء. قررنا بيع الدكان وبتاع فعلا، ما معنا الا هذا الاسبوع فقط. طبعا بيع الدكان يعني لي اننا يعني ببحث عن مكان عمل اخر، مكان اخر قد ربما ما يكونش حتى شغل دلي، قد يكون مكان اي شغل انا بستعد انا اشتغله، بحكم ان انا اوفر لقمة العيش لاسرتي بشكل عام وزوجتي واطفالي بشكل خاص.
Hopefully you all enjoyed that film as much as we did. This is just a sample of some of the programming we kind of have at the museum. We have a monthly film screening, and this was one of the films that was screened during our short film marathon for Yemeni films. Make sure you register to claim your free membership. It's a free family membership, lasts a year long. And thank you so much for listening to me and Dave talk about the Auto American National Museum. Have a good day.